Hi guys, you probably know me by now. If you don't know me, well, it's probably not worth knowing. But I'm going to change things a little bit. I'm going to upscale it or downscale it depending on your point of view. Instead of ranting and raving about stupid non-news stories and carrying on like an idiot, I'm going to tell you a story. Now, as you know, I have a website, brucemcallister.com, and although you have not seen it, 1.3 million people have. You could be number 1,333,000 something, whatever. Excuse me, I'll scratch my nose. Okay, so I'm going to tell a story. This is the very first story I wrote in my website. Now, my website is like 30 something stories. It's a very disjointed autobiography, I guess. At the heading of my website, I have a disclaimer. The story is either true, imagined, or a combination of both. That was to cover my fairly ample bum. At my age, I don't care anymore. I promise you this, every story is 100% true. And there are some of you are not going to believe. So I'm going to start off with the very first one that's in my website, and it's called Our Tame Magistrate. Now, a little bit of preamble before we go any further. If we're very lucky in life, we might have a handful of friends who are true friends, real friends, best mates, that kind of thing. And this story concerns my best mate, who I'm going to call Gazza, which is not his name or even close to it, and I. And this actually happened in, I guess, probably the early or mid 70s, or somewhere around that time anyway. Now, Gaza came from a very wealthy family. His family were multi-millionaires, and he didn't do too badly either. He was a very successful businessman in his own right. And I had just started to become successful in my marketing consultancy. So we're both doing okay. Now, we had a habit every Friday afternoon of going to a restaurant for lunch. Lunch started at 12 o'clock in the restaurant and usually finished about 2 a.m. in a nightclub every single Friday. And then we would rock up for work at our various businesses about 8:30 in the morning on Saturday morning. The staff knew, you come to work, I shut the door, leave me alone, I'm going to lay on the couch and get some sleep. Unless the place is going to burn down, then wake me up fairly quickly if you don't mind. So Friday lunches were kind of interesting. Now, the lunches we used to go to were fairly boozy affairs, as you can possibly imagine. And in those days, there were business luncheon restaurants, basically called tits and bums restaurants in the vernacular. They catered to business people. They're only open for lunch. Very, very good wine list. Very good quality food. Topless waitresses and striptease. Now, we would go there at midday and we'd get kicked out at 5 o'clock when they closed. We'd then go to a little Italian mummy and daddy restaurant where they made their own pasta in front of you for a marvellous dinner. Then we'd go to a nightclub in Light Square. This is all in Adelaide. And kick on until about 2 o'clock in the morning. And then drive home. Never having an accident, never been pinched for speeding or DUI or any of that rubbish, fortunately. Anyway, that was the course. One particular day, we were having lunch as usual. Now, during these lunches, we solved all the problems of the world. And we also came up with some interesting schemes to make money, which would have put us in jail for a very long time. None of which we ever carried out, by the way, but they were fun to design. And we decided that being in business in those days, you needed to have a contact in the court. So we decided we needed a tame magistrate. And the heading of the story in my website is Our Tame Magistrate. This is true. It's a 100% true story. And you're not going to believe it. Trust me. So we went out and we found a magistrate, the youngest magistrate in Adelaide at the time. He was a single guy, still a virgin, living at home with mum. And we cultivated his friendship. I'm going to pause here and go back a little bit. At the restaurant, there was topless waitresses and striptease. Striptease is really kind of boring if you've seen it 157 times, unless somebody is quite spectacular. Now, there was one stripper. Her name was Jasmine. Now, at that time, Jasmine was a he, not a her, or whatever, I don't know. Had the breast enhancements, but below the waist was quite masculine. The only thing that gave Jazzy away was her 5 o'clock shadow. You get that. But she was very, very good, very, very funny, and just great entertainer. We became friends with Jazz, and after she'd finished the show, she'd always come up and join us for a drink. She was a lovely person. And then she vanished for, I don't know, 2-3 months, maybe. And the management told us she had gone to Thailand to finish the transformation. Now, in the vernacular of before PC and before woke and all that other rubbish, it was called having the cut and tuck, which has been losing the male bits and pieces and getting the female bits and pieces. Anyway, she's gone doing that. During this time, we cultivated this virginal young magistrate, and we formed quite a good relationship with him. And the idea was that if we were going to be sued or anything else, it's very handy to have somebody on the judiciary on your side. Now, in those days, this is probably going to be early or mid-70s or so, 1970s, it was very popular to start suing people for no particular reason other than to get money. And the White Shoe Brigade, look it up on Google, the White Shoe Brigade, were very good at it. So we had to defend ourselves, hence the magistrate. This particular Friday, we decided to take him to our luncheon restaurant. Now, we had a permanent booking on Fridays. It was a layered restaurant. We were on the third tier at the back, round table, semicircular seating arrangement around it. And that was our permanent home on Friday afternoons. And we took him there for lunch, plonked him in the middle between us, and within about 15 or 20 minutes, his glasses fogged up. He started to sweat. He turned quite red. And it was quite an untidy sight, actually. He started drooling, I think, at one point. Anyway, that's by the by. So he quite enjoyed himself. And that happened to be Jasmine, the super stripper's first day back after her op. Sounds all good, doesn't it? Gets worse, trust me. So, Jazzy's done her show. By this point in time, he's panting and God knows what, almost the point of having a stroke. No, not with that kind of stroke, one of the mental ones. And anyway, after Jazz finished the show, she came up to say g'day. And we thought, oh my God, no, don't do this, Jazzy. And she's wearing a short skirt and she's got no pants on. And she's lifted her skirt. She said, look what I got. We said, put it away, Jazz, put it away. And so she did. Who's your friend? Doesn't matter, Jazz, go away. We'll talk to you later. And of taking that for a hint, Jazz climbed over me and sat between me and our magistrate. And she grabbed his hand. She said, what do you think of this? And she put it between her legs and he almost passed out. Anyway, the upshot was she decided that he was a virgin and technically she was a virgin too. So he took her home. Well, she took him home. To her home, not his home with his mum. Anyway, the romance progressed from there and they actually moved in together. About this point in time, my mate Gazza and I decided magistrates weren't that important after all. We dropped the idea. Now, I don't know what happened between the two, but the manager of the restaurant told us they'd permanently moved in together, and I'm not sure if it's with or without mum or what the outcome was, and I really don't care and I wish them well. So, that's our story, our tame magistrate. It's a true one, absolutely 100% true, and it was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Well, one of the funniest things, there are a few others. So I hope you enjoyed it. And here's the thing, if you enjoy hearing my stories, let me know. just put a like or whatever you think's a fair thing. If you don't like it, put a don't like. I really, it doesn't. I really don't care which way you go, but it's just so I know. If you like, I've got about 30 more stories I can tell you over the next month or two, and I'm sure some you'll like, some you'll hate, and some you'll go meh, whatever. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed telling it. Catch you next time.